Welcome back, welcome back. After 30 years of autocratic rule, the Republic of Maldives has elected its first democratic administration. And one of its immediate tasks is to find a possible new home for all the country's people. The Maldives is a group of almost 1,200 islands in the Indian Ocean, and very beautiful it is too, because I was there about a year ago. Very beautiful. But nowhere does it reach more than 1.5 meters above sea level. And rising sea levels threaten to wipe the Maldives from the map. I'm delighted to be joined now by the country's Vice President, Dr. Mohammed Waheed Hassan. Waheed, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you with us. What is the situation at the moment? Are you really actively looking for a new home?
We are actively looking for ways of protecting the islands for now. There are both immediate and intermediate steps that can be followed. We are not thinking of moving from Maldives immediately, not yet, because there are many short-term measures for mitigating the effects of global warming in Maldives.
What can you do to?
See, we have over 70 islands that are seriously threatened. These are inhabited islands, these are villages that have been seriously threatened by coastal erosion. People's homes are disappearing. And now we already have a program to protect the coastal line of these islands, but they're very expensive. And imagine you have a village of about 2,000 people living on it, but the mitigation and adaptation measures would cost them around $10 million. So this is quite expensive per capita. But
quite expensive, yes.
So in the short run, what we are trying to do is we are building retainer walls so that the beach doesn't get eroded further. We are also working on reviving the reefs, because the reefs are the natural protection for these islands.
You can build walls and you can do things like that, but you can't do anything to stop the sea levels rising, can you?
Well, we could slow it down if we all work together. Maldives alone can't do it. You know, Maldives, the effect of Maldives on global pollution is negligible. But we are part of this earth. we have lived on our islands for over 2,000 years. And for us to realize that we may not be able to live there for another 100 years is very troublesome.
And those are your first plans, are to try and stay, obviously. Have you been considering, as we read in the papers, that one day you might have to move 300,000 people to Australia or somewhere?
Well, this is a possibility. You know, the beautiful resorts that you all go to in Maldives will disappear. And the last resort for the Maldives will not be in the Maldives. It will probably be elsewhere. And that's the ultimate solution. But we are not expecting that to happen in the immediate future. However, the current president has suggested the idea of a sovereign wealth fund from the proceeds of tourism. That's something that we hope to be able to set up, and it's like an insurance plan for the people for an eventuality where we have to find an alternative place to live. But we hope that my children and their children will be able to continue to live in Maldives.
Continue to live there, yes. I mean, that it will be possible to survive. You would say that the danger would be about 50 years away, or?
It depends on the islands, too. There are some islands where we don't expect people would be able to live for more than 20, 30 years. There are others on which we will be able to live for much longer, because the islands are of different sizes. And it's possible as a medium-term solution to create safe islands and to move population from small islands to the larger ones. We are not forcing this at the moment because, Sir David, as you know, people don't like to be moved by force from their homes. And we have to create the incentives and the infrastructure the conditions for them to want to move to other settlements. This is also costly, and this is why we feel that in Maldives we need the assistance of the international community to support the survival and development of our country.
Well, I hope you can save Cocoa Island, because that's where we stayed when we were there, and it was
Yes.
delightful. You've got another big change that has happened already in the Maldives, of course, which is the coming of democracy after autocratic rule and so on. When you took over, were things as you expected, or did you find things different?
It's very hard, because we inherited an administration that was bankrupt. The previous administration lived way over its means, and so we are inherited with huge debts, almost empty treasury, and so we are in a very difficult financial situation. Unfortunately, it comes at a time when the rest of the world is also going through a similar experience. So it's not easy, but we think, you know, we will be able to, you know, do well, because Maldives is a very small place. In fact, the total income of Maldives, the total GDP of Maldives is smaller than that of some of the medium-sized companies. Mm. So, yeah. So we are trying to attract investment from abroad in Maldives, in tourism sector, but also to create alternative development projects. We have been relying entirely on tourism and fisheries. We need to diversify this. So we are going to attract foreign investment in such areas as luxury homes for those who actually would like to come and live in Maldives instead of just visiting for a week or two.
Absolutely. And I read somewhere that you're thinking in terms of the economy and so on, of selling the presidential yacht on eBay. Is that true?
We will have to sell it because it's sitting there. Nobody's using it, and it's too expensive to use it anyways. With the kind of budget crisis we have, we cannot afford to run it. Yeah. So we are looking for someone who would be interested to buy it. Whether it's going to be eBay or somewhere else, we're not sure, but we have to sell it. You know, it's just not practical.
Well, there you are, viewers at home. There's your opportunity. There's the presidential yacht of the Maldives available. Just call Al Jazeera on this number. That's what they always say, yes. Don't they? Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on this show. Thank you.
Great joy to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment with Slumdog director Danny Boyle on what it's like to win the 2 biggest Oscars of them all. Best Film, Best Director. Join us in a minute.